Welcome to the Dan Patrick Show.
I love Dan Patrick. Oh, my God.
Home to the biggest guests and best sports talk on radio.
I love it. One of my favorites.
Normally, home to Dan Patrick.
Hope you'll miss us.
But today, Dan and the Danettes are off.
Don't see another radio show behind my back, please.
And filling in, it's Steve Covino and Rich Davis.
Good. There we go. It's good.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is the Dan Patrick Show.
It's us. It really is. And not only that, look at those dance moves from Iowa Sam.
He's up and at him. Look at that guy.
It's too early for that. How does he have the energy?
To put in perspective for people that don't know, Fox Sports Radio employee Iowa Sam, who's all over the place, running the boards today, he has the mannerisms of a young Conan O'Brien.
Yes.
Which is great.
And he looks of a young Will Ferrell or something. I don't know what's going on.
That's high compliments.
Yeah, he's got an afro going on, I can tell you that. And I love him. And my favorite story about Iowa Sam, who's playing the xylophone so masterfully, so early in the morning, dancing, is that he recently told us his confirmation name, which is sort of like his middle name he goes by, is Javier.
It's the most immature, dumb question.
Please.
And it's a fun question because I was talking about this with one of the dads for my kids' Little League team yesterday. If you were watching the Thunder and the Nuggies, Jamal Murray going off 25 points, and he was sick. Not feeling well. You know, sometimes big game players come up in big spots, especially when they're not feeling so hot, right?
It's kind of how I feel today. It's a big day. We're filling in, and I feel a little out of it. You know why? Not because I'm sick, because I stuffed my face yesterday. So I'm like, oh.
One too many meatballs.
Yeah, I overindulged. Oh. And waking up so early, my bathroom schedule's off. So I'm really like, oh.
Don't tell us that.
But yeah, man. I ate so much like a slob yesterday that I'm not feeling that great right now.
I have
It's the same thing, right?
a relatively immature question for you. But listen, when you play at an NBA level, a Major League Baseball level, an NFL level, you're always trying to get the edge, right? Like everyone, that's a big thing in sports. You're trying to get the edge.
Any advantage.
Right?
Right.
You've heard there's players who got stinky ass in the NFL because they want people to get away from me.
Yeah. Any advantage, any edge, so competitive, the most competitive people on the planet.
So if you're a sick Jamal Murray, do you breathe a little bit on SGA? Like, maybe thinking like, if I have a little 24-hour...
Your deadly spores like The Last of Us?
Yeah, like The Last of Us. If you watch The Last of Us, I'm just picturing those deadly green spores when she's in that elevator bank.
You know, it is a really dumb question. I'm glad you prefaced it. But I wouldn't put it past them.
Dude, if the
Not
biggest...
at this level. We're talking about the most competitive people on Earth, and I wouldn't be surprised that it happens in regular life because some people are just that competitive. Like if Jonas was like, I really want to bring down CNR. I hate those guys. You know, he'd be rubbing his germs all over the microphones. I don't know how that works. You know, but we love Jonas and we love everybody here, luckily. But you never know.
Until
yeah.
you find out he rubbed his cheeks on your mic.
People are vengeful. Didn't Mike, who runs this place, say, like, never leave your toothbrush around people you don't know or something weird like that?
So,
Mike, who runs this place.
My point is simple. It might sound immature, but when one of us are sick, you or our video guy spots the first to be like, oh, don't breathe on me. Go away. Oh.
I mean, COVID changed the game, yeah.
Well, but I'm saying
I hate to bring up that dirty word that ruined 4 years of our life.
I think that if regular people are eye-rolling about, like, stay away, don't come to work. If you're feeling sick and you have a Game 7 in 48 hours, you don't think it's a wild thought to be like, maybe I'll breathe a little extra on SGA. If I have a 24, 48-hour little thing going on, maybe I'll give it to them.
If I was a betting man, and I'm not really, I'm just more of a cheapskate, I like the action, I would say no one had this conversation at all. That's my guess.
Because I think of these
Would
dumb
I
things.
put it past people in history and in the past, and has it been done before? As your favorite group, the Bare Naked Ladies, said, Rich, it's all been done. I'm sure it has been done before.
It's all been done.
And I'm sure it's been done in real life, like sabotage. You think these guys are above sabotage?
I mean, people are trying
Listen,
to
all of y'all.
People
it's
are
a sabotage.
People are in the middle of a pylon in the NFL, and they're grabbing junk and punching guys, and pulling hair.
I doubt this happened, but the thought is not as outrageous and goofy as you think.
Okay.
I bet it's happened before. Because people are looking for that edge like you described and sabotage and want to take people down. And it might be someone at the office, might be someone at the warehouse, might be someone at the oil patch, wherever you are, and you're trying to get ahead of that guy. The sales dude, you might have done something sneaky and creepy, actually, to bring him down. And when you're this competitive, I don't think it's impossible, Rich.
Dude, isn't it like the plot
I think it's improbable that it happened.
Isn't it the plot line of every dumb comedy? Like, the bad guy tries to get in the way of the good guy, like, oh, he's stuck in traffic, or, oh, don't let him get to the conference. I'm just saying it's
Put
not
something in his
wild.
drink.
It's not something crazy. It's not a wild thought, but, hey, last night.
Do you think that anybody, to piggyback your dumb thought here, do you think anybody on the flip side is like, I wish he wasn't playing because their health is a concern? Or we passed that? Kind of like the Jordan flu game. Mm-hmm. No one was really like, Jordan, stay away.
I'm just saying, yesterday was a biggie. We talked about it. I'm never the guy that's like, told you so, but OKC was favored by 6 yesterday. And I remember saying, like, not so fast. This game's in Denver. I know OKC yesterday in Vegas, they were still the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title. I don't know what that looks like today. I know the Knicks and the T-Wolves were both plus 600, but yesterday they had OKC at minus 140. I think when you go to a Game 7, those odds have been adjusted, but forget that series. Let's go to New York City tonight.
By the way, you know who I wouldn't put this past, by the way, to wrap up your previous thought? Rudy Gobert, because I think he's out to get everybody with his germs.
Yeah,
he is the guy that spread COVID, if you remember.
That's true. Hey, Bree, I was saying, am I crazy? You could look me in the eyes and say it's a dumb thought, but you don't think players are trying to get the edge?
It is, but it's not impossible.
Seems like too much biomedical, like you the timing of it, it's not going to play out the way you want probably.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to cough on this guy in game 1, and then by game 3 he'll be ill and he'll be missing the game.
Well,
I don't know.
You've heard times where it's like, yeah, the clubhouse, like half the team's not feeling well. You've heard that in sports. Like something goes through the locker room or clubhouse.
I heard that Bree wanted to produce our show for Dan Patrick on this main stage show. She's the one that got Danny G sick today. On purpose.
It's true.
And it started like 2 days ago. Yeah, she set him up for it. It's not impossible. It's improbable. So funny thought, though, because people are willing to take all sorts of risks for that edge.
No doubt. All right, so let's go to tonight. Madison Square Garden. The Knicks cannot, under any circumstances, let this series go back to Boston for a Game 7.
I'm with you.
I can only compare it to, I'm a Mets fan from New York, but I'm going to go back to when I was a little boy. When I was my kid's age, when I was...
For the record, he's just a man boy right now.
Yeah, now I'm a man boy.
Now he's a grown man boy.
My daughter often asks me, Dad, when was the last time the Mets won the championship? And I reluctantly say, your little brother who's 5, 6 years old? When I was his age. That's when the Mets won. 1986. I was in kindergarten. But I do remember, just from the highlights and knowledge, the Mets were playing the Astros in the NLCS.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year Mike Scott was untouchable.
Oh, this is was Kevin Bass on that squad?
He was on that squad.
Oh.
Do you remember there was speculation, is Mike Scott scuffing the ball? Like, he's unhittable.
I do.
The Mets were going to have to face him in Game 7.
Was Jose Cruz on that squad for the Astros?
That was a big squad, man. That Astros team was good. But they were going to have to face Mike Scott in a Game 7. So when they were in extra innings in Game 6, there was a pressure of like, you got to win now, Mets, because if you face Mike Scott in Game 7, I don't know if you could beat him. And I feel that way tonight about the New York Knicks, if you want to talk New York sports.
No doubt. My buddy's already reached out to me. Got a few East Coast friends out here in L.A., and they're like, dude, what are we doing for the game tonight? I'm like, well, I'm waking up early for Dan Patrick, so I might be taking a nap later. But, yeah, we got to get together, got to do something. So much on the line. Might be the biggest night in a long time for New York sports. with the Yankees-Mets going on tonight and, of course, the Knicks. But, Rich, I think what brings the Celtics closer together, why they're so scary, is because they don't have Jason Tatum. And I feel that forces everybody to step up and play harder. And they have a chip on their shoulder as a result. I'll give you a work analogy. Let's say it's the Covino and Rich show. We've been doing this forever, Covino and Rich. Here on Fox Sports Radio, 4+ years, right? But we've been working together. If Rich out of nowhere is like, Covino, I can't make it. It's not that there's extra pressure on me, but I know deep down subconsciously, well, if Rich isn't here, now I really got to bring it.
You're making up for something lost.
I'm trying to overcompensate because Rich isn't here. So you know what I'm doing? Extra effort. Man, I'm really going to bring it today. I'm also subconsciously going to say, I'm going to show everybody I don't need this guy.
What?
Yeah, I mean subconsciously, bro. I don't tell anybody that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not like walking around telling everybody, but I don't need this guy. And I want everybody to know. And oh, man, I'm full of great energy, and look how great
Is that what the Celtics are doing?
Whoa,
Okay.
It's the Covino show.
No, let's not get out of hand. Let's not
I mean, but Rich will be back tomorrow. But seriously, subconsciously, all these things are going on. And you're putting extra effort into that to show that the whole team and the whole process doesn't revolve around one guy. And I think they band together just to prove that. Like, yo, it's not just the Jason Tatum show. We're great with him, but we're great without him, too. We're going to show that. That's why you don't want to take any chances. That's why the Knicks have to stomp on them tonight, because you're right. Then it does get a little scary.
Well, to quote your hero as a child, MC Hammer, gaining momentum. You don't want anyone.
He also said, look at my eyes, man. You can't touch this.
I think if you go back to Boston, you're toast. I just can't see how you're right with the Tatum stuff. Going back to Boston, you got to finish this tonight, which is why I think it's the most important home game and the most important event at Madison Square Garden.
But trust me, there's another theory here.
In the 21st century.
I agree. I hate agreeing with you.
What's the other answer going to be? Billy Joel's show? I'm a big Billy Joel fan. What, the circus, Ringling Brothers when it comes to town?
Oh, yeah, when Gunther Gable-Williams was taming tigers and lions. That was huge in the 70s.
There's no big fights at the Garden like there were when our parents were younger. The Rangers haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1994, and before that, remember, 1940. So
Tonight we're reminded why it's the world's most famous arena. No diggity, no doubt. The last big event there was the Dice Man selling out.
I mean, maybe like a Big East tournament, UConn or Cuse back in the day did something, but I'm talking about the Mecca. Madison Square Garden is tonight the biggest game.
Yes.
Since the year 2000.
Can you hit that high note?
Since the year 2000.
Man, he did that so early.
Thank you,
Sam. Thank you. Bringing that Conan energy. Iowa Sam on the ones and twos. Again, Breeze on the phones, 877-99 on Fox. Don't be scared. Hit us up, and let's chop it up, especially when we're giving away prizes. But, Rich, there's another theory as to why you don't want to go back to Boston. And let's not forget the New York-Boston rivalry. As a city, forget about the teams. Just as a city, it's so big and so fun. I call it the do it for Johnny theory. Although the team wants to step up minus Tatum, they also want to rally around this. Something to rally around is scary. And I call it the do it for Johnny theory from the movie The Outsiders. They were rumbling, they were ready to win, and when they're doing it for someone else, I think that's when people play big. And I know that sounds corny, but people get together and nah, man, we got you. They're telling Tatum, we got you. We're going to do it for Jason, do it for Johnny. When you throw more factors into the mix like that, you really see people step up in different ways. It's also, to tie it to sports, the Brett Favre theory, where he had his biggest game on his toughest night because he was doing it for his dad who passed away. Now, I'm not saying, Tatum's never coming back, but it's reason to play for, reason to rally around. I don't think you want to let another team who has all this going for them, this bonding moment, you don't want to let them gain momentum like you said.
That name you said, Brett Favre?
Yeah.
Use it a couple more times because in 4 days.
Favre.
Because I was going to say in 4 days,
Yeah.
the world is going to hate him.
Why?
That documentary?
I mean, a lot of people hate him already.
No, but I'm saying I think everyone's going to hate him in 4 days.
There's a documentary coming out on Netflix in 4 days.
It points out everything that makes this guy awful. You bring up people rallying around people. I think you don't want to admit it as a Yankees fan. It's going to be tough for you guys to win the World Series this year without Garrett Cole.
Yeah,
However, if you go back a couple years in 2021, the Atlanta Braves won the World Series despite Ronald Acuna Jr. being hurt at a pivotal point and missing the season. So
sometimes losing a key player actually makes the team better. It sounds crazy and ridiculous, but losing Juan Soto, for example, really did make the Yankees lineup better. It forced them to make other moves. Other players had to step up. You're a more well-rounded team as opposed to relying on one player or expecting one player to bring it. So if the Celtics are able to rally around this, yeah, they're a dangerous squad still, and you're seeing it. So it puts that much pressure on what the Knicks have to do, which is win at home, and it brings, again, the question up, is this the biggest night at the Garden in the 21st century? That's
since
really the
year
question.
2000, because when you think about what, Dane Cook selling out the Garden, Sebastian Maniscalco? What are you gonna-
I sold out 10 times. Why would you do that? I think he sold 10 nights out.
I'm telling you.
Didn't he? Play like 10 shows at the Garden.
Since the year 2000, Conan O'Brien style, there hasn't been an event of this magnitude at the Garden. Because everything you think of, whether it was a big fight night, all those.
I remember the last time it was electric, sports related.
Linsanity,
yeah, because we lived it. Rich and I, we live in L.A. We're live from the barrios of the West Side right now, but we're live from the mean streets of L.A.
We're in the valley, Sherman Oaks.
Orale!
Nothing mean about Sherman Oaks, everybody.
Covino, que tal, vato loco? So we live in L.A. now, but we're from the East Coast, and not even just the Garden, just the city itself was electric, boogie, oogie, oogie, when Linsanity was going on. That's how real it was. Like, it really was a huge moment. It may have been a passing, fleeting 2 weeks for you. You're like, yeah, I remember that. I mean, those documentaries you've seen about Linsanity was real, and the Garden was rocking the way it should be when that happened. That was insane.
I hate to say it.
I'm sorry, Linsane.
I hate to say it because, we are New Yorkers originally. We're original New Yorkers.
I mean, I'm from
born and
Jersey,
raised.
to be technical. I'm a Jersey boy.
I'm a New Yorker.
Drinking my coffee. Oh, but you grow up, New York's your backyard, your playground, and where we worked.
But
So
I see you're a Jersey guy. I'm actually a New Yorker, and I look at it and say, other than a stand-up comedy special and Linsanity, maybe the debut of Carmelo Anthony because he was like a hometown guy and people loved him.
I hate agreeing with this guy, but Rich is right.
There
Because
really
he didn't really win with the Knicks the way they wanted him to, or we expected, but we were there for his debut, and it was electric.
Yeah.
We were there. It was one of the few times we went to a big game like that, and I remember everybody was super pumped about it.
So the Nosebleeds tonight, SeatGeek, StubHub, all your sites, $800 for like a high up. But then again, it's the Garden. It's not that big, but $800 for what you would call the Nosebleed. So
that's a ticket.
That's the ticket.
Yo, I don't know, $800 for a nosebleed?
Yeah, I mean,
You gotta run that one by the wifey, maybe.
Yeah, that's a ticket.
Maybe.
honey, I'm gonna be sitting
After you buy it, of course.
I'm sitting behind the Billy Joel sign in the rafters. $800. Your thoughts? Is tonight the biggest event at the Garden in the 21st century?
Yeah, try to think of something bigger than that because, again, tonight is going to be electric. It's going to be what New York's supposed to be, the world's most famous arena. You have to factor in the fans tonight, the intimidation factor. It's going to be loud. Home court advantage will be in effect, at least you hope. The stars will be out.
When you say intimidating fans, are you talking about a mean mug from Ben Stiller?
I'm talking Timothy Chalamet, mean mugging the Celtics tonight with his work boots on. So, yeah, the stars will be out. You'll be watching. And if anything, I'd love to hear from you, but if anything, if you don't have a horse in the race, we gave you reason to watch tonight?
You know what? Tim in Vermont, we'll start with him. Tim, biggest event at the Garden?
I don't know about the biggest event being this because you guys forgetting about the concert for 9/11 in the 21st century? You communists.
I remember I worked at Z100 in New York at that time, and they had Jingle Ball 3 months after 9/11, and they had FDNY and NYPD walking around the Garden. And
You mean you were there and you forgot?
I was
right. You should be
there.
ashamed.
Yeah, but that was just more sentimental. I was there. and I
Rich,
think
Rich introduced the Backstreet Boys.
You know, it's possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise
For Backstreet.
to the boys from the Backstreet.
Do you remember that song?
It's the Backstreet Boys.
I was Sam. I don't know how quick you're on the punch, but do you remember that song Superman by Five for Fighting?
Of course.
By the way, Five for Fighting got his name. That's the penalty in hockey, 5 minutes for fighting. That song played at Madison Square Garden while FDNY and NYPD walked around with candles. I can't stand.
I was wondering where that voice was coming from. I forgot Spot's in a new part of the studio now. He's out of sight. So I'm like, where's that disembodied voice coming from?
Don't play the song. Let Spot sing it.
Spot, you remember that though, right?
weren't meant to fly. Don't. I know we have this library of music. With the cloud beneath their feet. Thank you, Spot.
I'm more than a man. I'm more than...
My God. I know it's a sentimental moment, but that song is misery.
But that was a sentimental moment. But biggest moment tonight, Madison Square Garden.
Sports related? Absolutely.
Let's go. All right, listen, we got more Covino and Rich coming up for the great Dan Patrick. Now, there's a hot story. This is, what did they say back in the day? Hot off the presses. There's a Caleb Williams Chicago Bears story that I feel like was so unnecessary. Like, why say anything, Caleb, and your dad? But
when you said hot, I thought we were talking Sam Hartman next, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah,
I guess.
there's a lot to get to.
Okay.
CNR in for DP right here on Fox Sports Radio. So I saw this floating around social media, and I heard a lot of people saying, yo, they're throwing shade at Kelsey. And I'm like, oh, what happened now? There was a clue on Jeopardy. Take a listen.
The TV show in question 200. Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity is hosted by this man, who's maybe more famous as a boyfriend than as a 3-time Super Bowl champ. Derek.
Who's Travis Kelsey?
Correct.
Oh, burn!
I mean,
by the way, can I just say, without the sound of Trebek's legendary voice, that question holds no weight in my heart. I need Trebek's voice.
I agree.
I know we're going to talk about a legendary voice we lost in just a moment, but Trebek's missing in that clip right there was just not hitting the same.
I know I'm not a 70-year-old person, so I'm not watching Jeopardy every night.
That's the first time I think I heard a soundbite and it wasn't Trebek like that.
Agreed.
Right? It didn't hit the same.
No, it's like that adjustment you had where you're like, I guess Bob Barker doesn't do the prices right. It's going to take years because I heard that clip and I'm like, oh, that must be some bootleg version.
Are you smarter than a celebrity? Trebek would have did it so much better. Can I hear it one more time? One more time.
The TV show in question 200. Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity is hosted by this man, who's maybe more famous as a boyfriend than as a 3-time Super Bowl champ.
That doesn't.
Derek.
Who's Travis Kelsey?
Correct.
That doesn't hit. But so the question is, shade or truth? And as you always say, Covino, as the little tortilla girl once pointed out, why not both?
Well, Iowa Sam, let's give Iowa Sam some credit. He often fights and bickers with some other shows here on Fox Sports Radio.
At times.
And his whole point a lot of times is, well, both could be true. Both could be true is sort of something that Iowa Sam lives by, and I agree with him.
Coach Doug here. I don't agree.
There are many shades of gray in
both
life.
could be true. I'm right. You're right. It both could be true.
Now, Coach Doug,
You're wrong. Coach Doug just hit me up and he said, Iowa Sam wrong.
Sometimes both could be true, but the question we're asking the Fox Sports Radio Nation is shade or truth. Again, is Travis Kelsey more famous, more popular because
as a boyfriend,
he's Taylor Swift's boyfriend?
Of course.
Or, is he
Because he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion?
popular because he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion?
I think you'd be foolish, and you'd be wearing your I'm a grown man that loves the NFL goggles if you said it was because he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Travis Kelce and the Kelce Bros have the #1 sports pop culture podcast. Jason Kelce's on panel shows and might be a late-night ESPN host. And Travis is now an actor. He's in every commercial. And not to sound like a jerk, but it's not because they're great on the field, because they are. It's because they entered the Swiftie world, and as eye-rolling as that may be, he is more known as the boyfriend of the most famous woman on earth.
It exposed him to a whole different set of eyes and ears and a different demographic. We can't discredit that he was already a superstar in the sports world to another large demographic of people.
He had his own reality TV show before Taylor Swift had ever had one view on YouTube.
I mean, that is true, but he is best known as the boyfriend of a famous person.
So it is truth. So it's less shade, as people were saying last night, than truth. It is true as much as whack as that sounds to a sports fan. You're like, yeah, but he's Travis Kelce. He's won 3 Super Bowls. Relax. No, he is more famous.
This is starting to feel like both, and I don't like that for the radio.
You
guys need a debate.
Give me a divisive answer that could get the phones going.
Shade or truth?
But if you remember the fun trend, it was a year ago now. Do you remember that fun trend where wives and girlfriends would set up their camera on the sly, and they would say to their husbands or boyfriends Travis Kelce, no one knew him until Taylor, right? Just to make their men angry. That was a trend a year ago. But the reality is, he is one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Well,
but
you
why
also
does he
have to be very secure in who you are as a man. I'm wondering, based on that, would everyone here, everyone listening, be super comfortable in reality dating someone who was way more popular, powerful, famous, maybe made more money than you as a guy? Because we have been conditioned. I know it's not a popular way to think, but conditioned to be providers, right? And breadwinners. Doesn't mean you have to be, but is everybody comfortable being second fiddle in that department the way Kelce volunteered to be?
No.
And he has the confidence to say yes because he's already uber successful. We get that. He's a confident guy.
No, but I'm saying, listen, it could be considered old school sounding, but there's a lot of guys that would have a hard time not being the top dog earner in the family. That's true. You can't lie about that. There'd be a lot of guys that are I don't know if I feel comfortable with it. And it's all based on insecurity.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of people that wouldn't. It's a fact.
That is without a doubt a fact.
And again, just so I'm clear, that it's based in insecurity, but there are certainly people that are not secure enough. And
you know what, Danny G?
I think Travis Kelce.
I'll take a side, though. I'll take a side, and here's my side on it.
Hold on. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, though, however, has proven that being on the arm of Taylor Swift, reversal style,
where he business
is good for business. So
business is booming.
Business is booming, not AB style, but business is booming. If you are secure enough to be yeah, I'm with someone way cooler than me.
Is it shade or truth is the question based on the Jeopardy highlight yesterday. Sure, there's some truth to it. But, I do hate that sentiment of, like you mentioned, Kanye West and the Beatles, right? Oh, how nice of Kanye to welcome this old guy into this song. Who's Paul McCartney anyway? Who's Paul McCartney? Give me a break.
I remember
Just
that.
because you're an idiot and you don't know who Paul McCartney is doesn't mean he's not super famous, right? So I feel that way about Swifties.
There it is.
Tonight's the biggest night at the Garden since Rich was body surfing at the Bare Naked Ladies show. Who was it? Bare Naked Ladies and the Proclaimers. Rich's favorite bands. Anyway, Covino and Rich. I'm joking. Actually, I wish I was joking. But I'm not.
Here. Come on.
Live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. Again, Covino and Rich. Perhaps you heard of us. We're on Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 on the East, 2 to 4 on the West. We have a bonus podcast. You could watch it called Overpromised on Fox Sports Radio's YouTube page. It's all the stuff we don't have time for, fun interviews. Overpromised, check it out. And we got a huge party that you're invited to. Everybody listening to the Dan Patrick Show, everybody who's into Fox Sports Radio, anybody who's ever liked us ever or just wants to have a good time, will be in Vegas doing it live, having fun. debauchery, Rich.
Can't wait.
Things we shouldn't speak of.
Can't wait.
In Vegas, June 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Can't wait.
You're
is
invited.
right. Big
Can't
party.
wait.
All the details at Covino and Rich as we put this event together. It's going to be a lot of fun.
For now, just book the flight.
Hey, and if you're new to Covino and Rich, hey, welcome. We appreciate it, and it's always an honor to fill in for the great Dan Patrick. And before we move on to Caleb Williams, there's a story that, it's one of those just like, why are you saying anything, dude? There's a Bears Caleb Williams story. It involves his dad. We're going to talk some Dallas Cowboys and a little squabble with Fox football. So that's in the news. Yankees sweating Juan Soto. Lots to get to. But did you think about it? Was there any event at Madison Square Garden that could compete with the intensity of a Game 6 where if you don't win, you got to go to Boston on Monday? Like, is anything compared to this?
No.
In the 21st century?
No, it's been that dead for so long. I mean, again, we worked there. We would look at it all the time. We even did a TV show right in that area. We'd interview people outside of the Garden all the time. World's most famous arena. And I remember thinking, like, yeah, that's the Mecca. Mecca like a high, Mecca hiney ho. That's the Mecca of sports.
Yeah. I mean,
and nothing's been going on here for years. It's not that the Knicks didn't have fun teams and exciting, dynamic players, because they did. But now they actually have a shot. And they're playing the Celtics tonight at home. They got to win. Yeah, tonight is one of the biggest nights, not only at the Garden in years, but in New York sports with the Yankees and Mets, two powerhouse teams going at it. But to answer your question, Rich, I think tonight's the biggest night at the Garden in a long time.
Look, the last two times the Knicks made it this far, one of those two times, we were watching OJ in a car chase. That's how long it's been. And then the strike season, they got, whooped by the Spurs in a season where they probably shouldn't have been there anyway. So for New York Knicks fans and East Coast basketball fans, you know how a lot of times you hate to say it, but baseball's a little better when the Yankees and Red Sox are good. Football's a little better when the Cowboys are competitive. Because there's teams to love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
When basketball in New York is good, it brings another layer to the National Basketball Association.
No diggity. No doubt.
And I think tonight you're going to see a lot of stars out. Tickets, like I said, $800 for the nosebleeds.
Even the casual fan is going to watch and have a little case of the FOMO and say, man, I wish I was there. It looks fun tonight.
So
high stakes,
you,
lots of fun. Yeah, it's the place you want to be tonight. I don't know if I want to spend $800 for the weakest seat in the house, but it's definitely the place you want to be.
Let me ask you there, Steve. And I'm going to start calling you Steve instead of Covino because the name Steve is back now because of Minecraft.
Steve's Lava Chicken. It's tasty as hell.
It's not an old guy name anymore.
No, it's coming back.
Steve.
Yeah. Steve.
Being that you and I are big Mets-Yankees fans. I'm a Mets guy. You're a Yankees guy. I'm almost saying that the Mets-Yankees gets my phone and the Knicks game gets the TV.
Oh, that's a whole other question.
I mean, you don't need to think too hard about it. I mean, you're a diehard Yankees fan. You're the guy that watches 162 games.
I have a question for you, though. With all the technological advances, right? What happened to picture-in-picture? What happened to that split screen option that your TV would offer? Can't you do that anymore?
That's sort of like
with all the apps. We've lost that integration.
I mean, you know me during NFL season. I roll in. No joke, Bree. I was saying you've been to my house. I roll in other TVs like I'm a sports bar, and I have
you got TVs on wheels.
I have TVs on wheels. I
like you're the substitute teacher.
Well, you know why? Because you go to Walmart or Target and a 50-inch TV.
They're so cheap now.
They're so cheap. It's like I bought.
Yeah, but when you have a 100-inch screen TV,
why can't you split it?
You can't have a split screen for a big night like tonight.
Rich's big TV screen of the week.
Yeah, you have to have two TVs. We were doing that 20 years ago. Now we can't.
I know what you're saying. For Sunday Ticket, you could split it 4 ways, 2 ways. But you're right. If you want to watch the Knicks game and the Yankees.
All the advancements in technology, we lost this somehow.
Well, you know why?
Because now you're right. I do have to resort to the believe it or not, I'm doing the Knicks on the phone, which I know is a bigger game and bigger stakes. But I'm such a Yankees fan, and I want them to beat Rich's Mets so bad. I hate Juan Soto
you want to see
with every fiber of my being that I want to see it as big as possible.
He wants to see Juan Soto rip a line drive down the right field line for a home run in the first inning
No, I
on
want to
his
see
big TV. Okay.
I want to see these jabronis out tonight, these botchagaloops, these New York boneheads, these meatheads, booing him in full stereo sound on the big screen.
I actually have 3 TVs in my apartment. I have one 55 and I have two 32 inches on the wall. So I have 3.
Wow, Bree.
Yes. It's like a Brie bar.
You were rolling like that?
Yeah.
What are they paying you here?
We just said how cheap TVs are.
No,
yeah,
they
that's
really
true.
are, honestly.
Because they're monitors nowadays. Yeah, they're just screens.
I know. I think like a 55-inch TV is like $200 to $300. So you buy a couple of those, you wheel them out, put them to the left and the right of the big screen, and you do it that way. But Covino's right. The problem is this.
The problem is you have 3 different apps going on.
Precisely, buddy boy. Like, if I'm watching the Mets game tonight, MLB TV. If I'm watching the Knicks game, it's on Hulu for me, Hulu Live. So you're right. You can't do it that way.
It's still not customizable, if that's even a word enough, on YouTube TV, where, like, I could watch a Indiana Fever game and, like, an NBA playoff game at the same time. You can, like, mix and match NHL with some NBA, but you can't get exactly what you want yet if you're, like, a YouTube TV
You got
user.
your sweet MLB package and all your other streaming services, but you lost your picture-in-picture.
I was saying, you ever dream that Caitlin Clark wants you?
No, I've not had that.
Okay.
I am wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt today, though.
I know. I wonder if I was Sam, like, like he wakes up in a hot sweat. He's like, oh, Caitlin, oh.
They are starting their season tomorrow, so I'll be tuning in for that.
Is she going to take that team next level this year or what?
I think so. It's good. They're definitely going to go up another level, but they're hosting the Chicago Sky, so you got Angel Reese coming to town. It's going to be great.
Definitely watching her on his big screen TV.
That's right.
Yeah.
That sounded creepy.
It's weird. He watches the game in a pair of Iowa tighty whities.
How would you know?
So, hey, good luck tonight to the Knicks and Celtics fans. Yankees fans, not so much. Let's go Mets. Now, there's a story in the NFL that I want to get to next, and this story is everything, if you ask me.
Really?
You know what it reminds me of? Bear with me a second. For all the sports I watch, I do love some good trash TV. Not Vanderpump Housewife nonsense. I enjoy a good...
What's that one you're watching now, Smut Island?
Stop it. I like the ones
You
where...
guys got to watch Smut Island.
I like the ones...
It's the smuttiest of all the trash TV.
That's too hot to handle. There's some of these reality shows now
That was
where
close.
these 20-somethings are on islands and they're told, like, you can't have sex. And they're like, no! like,
But I've got to.
Yeah, they're like,
it's been 24 hours.
You're on this island for 3 weeks and you can't make
Don't
love.
they start bugging out like 5 hours into it? It's been 5 hours since I've had sex. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Don't worry, Chad.
Hey, I'm Kyler. I like sex.
I'm Jessica. I'm a boss bitch, and I love
Kyler 5
wieners.
hours later is freaking out because he needs some action.
So I do love a good trashy reality show. My wife and I, the kids go to sleep. You pop one of those on for brainless TV. So I'm going to make an analogy here.
Okay.
Kyler Murray. Not Kyler Murray. Why am I thinking of him?
Because I said Kyler
that's
Smut Island.
I'm like, why am I thinking Kyler Murray? He has nothing to do with this.
Hey, I'm Kyler. I love threesomes.
Wait, and I'm on this island and I can't have sex? Caleb Williams, I'm going to compare him to Love is Blind, and you're going to be like, how are you going to do this, you idiot? And I'll tell you how.
Well, if you're going to do it in the form of Colin Cowherd, because he has the best analogy.
Stars attract other stars.
Stars.
Colin Cowherd here. Caleb Williams is sort of like Love is Blind. On Love is Blind, they're in these stupid pods, and they try to fall in love without seeing each other. And without fail, every season, some guy's like, Jessica, I think I love you. I don't know if I love you, Braxton. All right, fine. And then he'll go in another pod and be like, I've always loved you, Tiffany. And then undeniably, that girl will find out, wait, I wasn't your first choice? And then there's the dilemma of, do you want to know the backstory? Do you want to know I wasn't your first choice?
Are any of us listening and hanging out here our significant other's first choice? Probably not.
I'd like to think so.
I don't doubt it. It just ended up that way.
I think that if you connect with someone, it's like, wow, I found you.
I mean, dude, you could pat yourself on the back like you're Barry Horowitz all day. You really think that? Their first choice.
I do.
First choice. millions and millions of people on this earth, Rich was the first choice.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't say it's impossible, but I'm not going to say
I think
I was her first choice always.
I think there's plenty of matches for everyone on planet Earth, but I'm just saying, do you want to know, like Bree, if you were dating some dude and you found out like he was talking to you and some other girl, and he was like, Vanessa, I love you, and she's like, I don't like you, and
So
he's
he
like, and then he
settled
goes,
for me.
Hey Bree, you want to date? Like, do you want to know that?
I don't want to know because I feel like then you're just settling for me. I'm not like second place.
We always say, don't be a pilgrim because you're not a settler.
Yeah.
Do you have buckles on your shoes? Don't be a pilgrim.
Oh my God,
that is
I love
true.
that.
Yeah,
Thank
don't be
you.
a settler. Don't settle.
So,
But here's what I think. I think, we're everybody's choice, but it's not a guarantee that we were the first choice. So, yeah, did my girlfriend choose me? Yeah. Was I the first guy she chose? Probably not. I was just good enough, and yeah, I choose this guy. He's okay.
All right, well, with that thought, I'm going to get into the details next of this Caleb Williams story and his dad and what they thought about the Chicago Bears and the organization and everything before draft day a year ago. We'll get to that next right here on Fox Sports Radio. Your buds, Covino and Rich, filling in for the great Dan Patrick.